Hello learners, this is Habiba with another topic of UGC NET Paper 2 Education, Unit 3, Learner and Learning Process, Growth and Development with the subtopic Principles of Growth and Development. In the previous class, we understood the concept of growth and development, human development and all. Now we are going to discuss about principles of growth and development. Scientists and scholars have propounded a variety of theories on the manner in which the process of development takes place, the speed at which it takes place. Brief account to some of these theories are given below. Let's understand now. First, general principles of development. When we talk about any individual's development, we point towards her or his efficiency, maturity and capacity. Hence, in studying the various theories of development, we must pay special attention to the following theories. Number one, theories of maturation. Maturity is usually characterized by stability in terms of height, personality, judgment, etc. The child's capacity to maturity and learning are two elements. So, inextricably linked with each other that they can ever be separated. Even heredity and environment have an influence upon the depth of maturity. In the previous class, we understood how heredity and environment both play a very important role. They interplay between heredity and environment is the human development or growth and development. McGraw stated development in behavior embraces both process of narrowing down the activity to minimum essentials and process of knitting together or integrating two or more aspects of particular behavior pattern. During the early stages of development, the most obvious process appears to be from general to specific. But once an aspect of a pattern has attained a certain degree of determinants, then the process of development becomes essentially one of integration. Now, the second one is the instinct approach. In the context of development, McDougall made a detailed study of instinctive behavior. He posited the existence of a maternal instinct in women and emphasized the idea that their development is based upon this instinct. If instincts are used only as the patterns or prototypes of complex behavior, and if these patterns or prototypes influence development, we are led to conclude that the process of learning cannot be initiated in their absence. Now, the third one is the reflex approach. Watson has hypothesized that all children are the same at birth, that they have a definite physiological structure, that they manifest some reflex activities and possesses the three emotions of love, fear and anger. In addition, each child possesses some manipulative tendencies. The children employ these according to the environment. This constitutes his response to the environment. This reflex action points towards the development of the children. Now we understood about general principles. Now let's understand specific principles of development. These principles are based on growth rate and various developmental factors. Number one, from general to particular. The basis of this principle is that the child develops from a general state and that this development takes place in a particular direction. Initially, the child uses his whole hand as a unit and he gradually learns to manipulate the fingers individually. Same fact applies to development of relations also. In the beginning, the child experiences only sensation, but with the passage of time, he learns how to express his emotions. The growth of linguistic ability starts with crying and the making of inarticulate sounds, but then progresses through meaningful words to the construction of complete sentences. So, this is general to specific. Now, the second one, the Cephalocaudal Principle. Now, let's understand understand in detail what is this cephalocaudal direction. The process of cephalocaudal direction from head down to tail. This means that improvement in structure and function come first in the head region, then in the trunk, and last in the leg region. So this whole process is called cephalocaudal principle. Now, proponents of this view hold that the process of development has its start in the head. Even in the embryonic state, it is the head which develops first of all limbs, and the torso develops after the head has developed. And after birth, it is the head which the child first learns to move in various directions. He too lifts up his head first of all and learns to sit up and walk only subsequently. This theory is based upon the process of physiological development. The next principle is the Proximo Distal Principle. Proximo Distal direction sees development progress from the center of the body to the outside of extremities. An infant will be able to hit an object with their arm and hand, grab an object, then control the manipulation of the object with their fingers. An embryo shows a well-developed torso with very small underdeveloped arms and legs. So this is called proximo distal. Proximo distal in the sense first from the center and then periphery, development in the periphery it happens. Then according to the scientists adhering to this theory, the center of the developmental process is the nervous system. They argue that it is the nervous system which develops first of all. After this, the organs nearest the nervous system, the heart, the chest, the elbow, etc. undergo development. Fingers and other relatively remote parts of the body develop after this. The next one is unified process. The specific principle of development is a unified process. The notion of a child's development does not imply bodily development only because the personality achieves maturity and completeness only when mental, emotional and social development also take place. It is for this reason that Olson and Hughes have propounded the concept of an organism age according to which a child who is 8 years of age in physiological organismic age, according to which a child who is 8 years of age in physiological terms may be 12 years from the viewpoint of mental level. From the emotional viewpoint, the same child may be 14 years of age, hence development is a concept which cannot be restricted within certain prefixed limits. It is a unified process. The next principle is the principle of variation. The rate of development is never uniform. Development continues throughout life and varying rates because in infancy the rate of development or growth is quite rapid, whereas it slows down in a notable way during childhood. In adolescence, its rate increases once again and then the individual attains maturity. Besides, girls and boys too do not grow at the same rate. This difference is found not only between the two sexes but also between individual members of the same sex. The next one, specific principle of development is it is a continuous process. The process of growth begins with birth and ends only with death. It is an irrefutable truth that this process is a continuous process through which every individual must necessarily pass. The basis of behavior changes from moment to moment and the rate of growth is distinguished from changes in behavioral patterns themselves. And the next one is uniform patterns of development process. Scientists holding this view say that in a race, the process of development is guided or determined by uniform patterns. irrespective of whether an individual is born in USA, in India, his physiological, mental, emotional and linguistic development takes place according to the same pattern. For example, a child learns to climb the steps even in other countries also, here also, everywhere the pattern is same. Now let's understand educational importance of principles of development. The knowledge of the general and specific principles of development is a must for teachers. The importance of this knowledge has three aspects. Number one, feelings of expectation. The knowledge of developmental theories helps the teacher to know what should be expected from the child at various stages of development. If we expect adults' behavior from child, his development will be blocked. So, according to the mind of the child, the teacher has to develop understanding about the child. The next one, second one, opportunities of trials. What type of changes are being occurred among children? This knowledge can provide them right direction, and by providing proper environment, their development can be done. Just now we understood heredity and environment, interplay between these two is human development. If a child is given a proper environment, then the growth and development will be in a correct direction. Third one is determining the future behavior. After seeing the various forms of development, children's future shape of their development can be determined by the teachers and parents. These two plays a very important role in a child during the childhood stage of growth and development. So 7 important social skills for kids the teachers and parents need to understand and need them to help to grow these skills. Number 1 is sharing, that is sharing between things, and then 2 cooperating, 3 listening, then 4 following directions, number 5 respecting personal space, number 6 making eye contact, number 7 using manners. So these are the 7 important social skills for kids. Only with the help of the teachers and parents only can these skills can be developed among the children. So let's conclude this topic. Expressing his views upon development, L.E. Taylor states that whatever an individual is at any one given moment is subject to change, because the process of becoming a little different from what he is continuous uninterruptedly. The entire style is changing, and it is necessary to focus simultaneously upon the fact of the style and the fact of change. What the individual style will be in a particular situation depends upon his previous style and the influences directed at him by the environment. It also depends upon his responses to those things which have happened in the past and to those influences which he is undergoing at present. Any individual can, to a certain extent, determine his style of life through successive stages according to his own tastes and decisions. Once a decision has been made and its influence has fallen upon the developing structure, it can never be erased or eradicated. Now let's evaluate ourselves with 1 or 2 questions here. These are the previous year questions. Number 1, which of the following is not the principle of development? Option A, principle of continuity. Option B, principle of individual difference. Option C, principle of proceeding from specific to general response. Number D, principle of integration. The answer is option C. That is principle of proceeding from specific to general response. Just now we understood that is the development occurs from general to specific, not from specific to general. Question number 2. Most important factors in the development of child are option A, physical and moral development of the child. Option B, social and economic status of the family. Option C, educational and social status of parents. Option D, socio-economic and intellectual environment of the child. Answer is option D. Socio-economic and intellectual environment of the child is very, very important. It's a important factor in the development of child. Now, question number 3. Identify the wrong statement from the following. Option A, growth does not continue throughout the life. Option B, heredity sets the limits for development in terms of potential. Option C, development proceeds from specific to general. Option D, correlation and not compensation is the rule in development. The answer is option C. Development proceeds from specific to general. Just now we understood development proceeds from general to specific. That means this question has been repeated. We come to the end of this class. Thanks for your attention and time. As motivation, please do like, subscribe, share and comment below. Thank you once again. Happy learning.